Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I am super excited. I'm back home, and that means a lot of content for you guys this weekend. WTA Cincinnati Open, or Cincinnati WTA 2022 event. The Western and Southern Open is also what it's called. Now, we have some massive matches, not just in round one, but throughout the whole tournament. I'm hoping we're going to get some ridiculously good matches. And we have just been having, of course, another tournament going on in Toronto, the Rogers Cup for the women's. For the men's, it's Montreal Rogers Cup as well. Semi-finals are getting underway today, so looking forward to those and some upsets there. Halep is doing well, Hadid Pliskova, and others. So there's a lot going on there, and we'll see who comes out of that. And then we'll do our WTA power rankings as well. Let's get into it. Before we do, remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Thank you to everyone that is still liking the videos and has also subscribed. It does help us out a great deal, so please do. A massive proportion of people that are watching the videos are not subscribed. It's free, it's quick, doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out a great deal. Really appreciate it. I think it's something like 75 to 80% of you. If you're also listening on a podcast platform, do remember to leave a rating or review, especially on Apple Podcasts. Really does help us out. Thank you to those who have been doing it. I can see that, and I do appreciate it. Right, let's get into it. Iga Swiatek is the number one seed, and she got upset, of course, in a, I have to say, a pretty surprising way in the end in Canada, because a lot of people thinking, okay, well, at Wimbledon, it can happen, but do they really expect it to then lose again? And the answer was yes. And she lost to Hadid, who's in some fantastic form. She's made the semi-finals now as well. Beat her in 3 sets. She's a very tricky Brazilian and a lefty at that as well. And she's really, really good. Had a fantastic grass court swing. Didn't perform as well as she would have liked at Wimbledon, but she's constantly improving, and it's great to see her playing some great tennis. For Iga, of course, and for Iga fans, not ideal, but I wouldn't count her out just yet. She will be the favorite at the US Open, you would imagine, unless she falls early in all the preceding tournaments now. But look, backing her to go pretty far, and we'll see what the matchups look like as we do go through our picks. She's got by in the first round, though, so she'll go through to the second round automatically. Sloane Stephens has got Elise Cornet. Stephens a wild card. Elise Cornet, of course, has had a very good year this year. She's been really good last couple of years, and she's definitely having a bit of an Indian summer, and that's great to see from the French player. Sloane Stephens, US Open former champion, hasn't really found her feet in as much as she would like, I think, since that win, and everyone talks about it. She's dangerous on the hard courts. She's obviously at home and in America as well. That I don't know how much of an advantage it is, because I did see a tweet from Gil Gross, so shout out Gil, where he said, I'd like to see the statistical evidence that backs up the theory that players play better at home. Now, in team sports, there's definitely a home advantage, but in sports like tennis, it could potentially be a hindrance if they have that added pressure and the crowd's really, cheering them on. They almost feel like they are expected to win. And sometimes that can weigh you down. So it's an interesting point that he made. And I'm not sure. I think some players obviously step up to the plate and they're able to handle that pressure better. Others, maybe not so much. So I guess it averages it out that it doesn't really have too much of an effect. But it's more on a player-by-player basis, you would assume. I'm going to go with Stephens to beat Cornet, but that's a very, very good first-round match and one of my favorites. There is a pick for the first round that I'm going to highlight, and we'll get to that. This is one to look out for, though, of course, as well. Madison Keys, Potentseva. So Potentseva has gone deep as well this week. Madison Keys, very dangerous, but she's in really good form, Potentseva. I guess it just depends on how she's going to recover from Canada. If she's still fresh, she's going to be dangerous. Madison Keys, very dangerous on the hard courts. Big hitter. Again, like Sloane Stephens, after they both made the final that year at the US Open, and Madison Keys, of course, didn't manage to win it. But since hasn't really played her best tennis, you would say. She's definitely had a better go of it than Sloane, but still not kind of reached the heights that she would have expected, you would imagine. But a very down-to-earth player, and also someone who can hit a very heavy ball, especially on the forehand and backhand side. Can make mistakes, of course, but with the trusted bounce, I guess, on these hard courts, she should have some success. I'm going to go with her, and I guess I'm almost factoring in the home advantage, but I don't know how much of an advantage it is. I'm more going on the fact that Madison Keys is going to be more comfortable on the hard courts at Cincinnati. Potent Saver, though, she will be the favorite going into that, honestly, and I wouldn't be surprised if she wins. Halep Maia versus Ostapenko, very tough first round for the Brazilian, but given her form, I'm going to back her, and I think she'll be too solid and also too tricky for Ostapenko. Ostapenko had a good grass court swing as well. I would imagine she's been very up and down just for the last few years. Again, similar to Sloane Stephens, won the French Open a couple of years ago as a teenager, though, and since hasn't really been able to reach those heights again. So it'll be intriguing to see if she's able to replicate somewhat, that form somewhat, and potentially go deeper or deep in a Grand Slam. Goff has a bye, so she's going through. Cerebus Tormo is playing Alison Risk. I'm going to go Cerebus Tormo to cause a bit of an upset, but big call from me. Rybakina, apparently playing no one, so got by the Wimbledon champion. Muguruza's got by, as has Badosa. Krejcikova's playing Kudermetova. I'm going to Krejcikova, or Krejcikova, sorry, even. Last year's French Open winner. Kudermetova is a difficult one, though, in the first round, and she's, of course, dropped down the rankings substantially. Let's see if she's able to get back up to where I guess she really belongs. She's a very good player, but I know she struggled with some mental issues, mental health issues after the French Open winner last year, just felt a bit burnt out. And the start of this year, she struggled with injuries and the mental aspect as well. So I'm hoping we see her back to her best. She's still winning in doubles. She's a really, really good player. And I think the WTA Tour is definitely better with her playing at her best. It really is. Makova versus Halep. I'm going to go Halep. Bencic, Kirsty. Very tough to play against Kirsty, but I'm going to. Bencic, I'm going to go with her. Teichmann, Kvitova. Now, if this is a grass court, I'd be going for Kvitova hands down. I'm going to go with Teichmann to cause the upset, though. McNally, wildcard versus Sasnovich. I'm going to go with Sasnovich. Jaber's got a buy as Pegula. Wow, what a first round that is. Bianca Andreescu versus Camila Giorgi. That's a really, really good one. Wow. I'm not quite sure which way that one goes, honestly, because Andreescu's playing some good tennis, as is Giorgi, of course. Lost to Qinwen Zheng in 3 sets. Andreescu, after beating Kasatkina and Cornet, some good wins there. Giorgi, that's this week, of course, in Canada. Giorgi lost to Pegula. There's no real harm in that. I mean, Pegula's a very, very good player. Definitely one of the best on tour right now. Beat Raducanu in the first round, then Mertens in straight sets. Both of them lost in 3 to Pegula. Took the first set. I'm going to go Andreescu, but genuinely, that is an incredible. And in terms of, I think, 50-50, that is the biggest 50-50 for me so far after looking at the draw. This is another close one, though. Kai Kanepi versus Victoria Azarenka. I'm very high on Azarenka on hardcourt. She hasn't quite been able to replicate that form so much recently, but I'm going to go with Azarenka. And then this is the one, right? This is the one for me, which is a massive, massive matchup. Serena Williams versus Emma Raducanu. Raducanu, 19 years of age or 18 years of age. Serena Williams, 40 years of age. They're at completely different times in their career. Raducanu has just started her career. She's won the US Open. Of course, she's going to go into the champion. Serena has won so many Grand Slams, 23 Grand Slams. She is a GOAT. She is the GOAT, in my opinion, in women's tennis. And this is going to be her last Cincinnati, by the sounds of it, and her last year on tour. The question is going to be, I guess, how does Raducanu handle Serena's power? I'm not quite sure she's going to handle it too well. Also, her serve, she's going to have to try and make Serena stretch and be in uncomfortable positions. She'll probably try and utilize a slice serve out wide a lot on the juice side. and the kick serve out wide on the ad side as well. And maybe even use a slice serve on the ad side down the tee to try and drag Serena out, even on the forehand side, against that she's not being able to step in and attack the serve, because we know how good an attacker of serves Serena Williams is, and she's one of the best attacking returners ever. And her serve, I'm not sure how Raducanu is going to return that, but we'll see. And in the ground stroke rallies, Raducanu will want to keep them long and try and keep the ball as deep as possible, keep Serena on the run as much as possible, because she's not the player she once was, of course. I'm going to go with Serena. I'm not quite sure where Emma's game is at right now, so we'll have to see how she gets on. But for me, at the moment, Raducanu is in this kind of weird period where she's got a new coach. She's not quite managed to find her feet yet. She will do so, I think, but it's tough. It's very, very tough. She is seeded as well, and she doesn't do well at this tournament. Again, I think she continues to kind of fall down the rankings. Pliskova versus Venus Williams. That's a fantastic matchup. I think Pliskova is going to be too fresh and too experienced. Again, though, she might be tired from Canada, so we'll see. Venus, great to see her still playing. She hasn't said anything about herself retiring, but I would imagine she might retire at the same time. Who knows? Elise Mertens and Van Uytvanck, I think, playing qualifiers, which is why it's blank, but I'm going to go for both of them anyway. Sakkari's got a bite, as is Sabalenka. Trevisan as well. Sofia Kenin versus Shelby Rogers. What an all-American affair that is. 2 wild cards, 2 Americans. I'm going to go with Sofia Kenin to cause a little of an upset, really, because I think Rogers will be a slight favourite, honestly. Anisimova versus Kasatkina. Kasatkina is not getting the rub of the green with the first round match. She got Andreescu this week in Canada. That's a really, really tough first round. She's seeded as well. And then she's playing another unseeded player in Anisimova. And I'm going to go with Anisimova to win that. I think Kasatkina, that's another 50-50 for me. But Anisimova's just got so much power. And she's had a great year so far. Fernandez, Leylah Fernandez, last year's US Open finalist versus Alexandrova, even. I'm going to go with Leylah Fernandez for me. Osaka versus Shoei Zhang, going to go with Osaka. Kontaveit's got a bye. Iga Swiatek versus Sloane Stephens, going to go with Iga. Madison Keys, Haddad Maia, going to go Haddad Maia. Coco Gauff versus Ribas Tormo, going to go Coco Gauff, although that could be a very frustrating match for Coco Gauff because Ribas Tormo gets back so many balls, but it should be a winnable and a match winnable match, and a match as well where Coco Gauff is able to dictate throughout. So we'll see. Rybakina versus Muguruza. I'm not really sure about Muguruza. She's just in such weird form. I'm going to go with Rybakina. Badosa there. Krejcikova, even versus Halep. I'm going to go with Halep. Bencic versus Teichmann in an all-Swiss affair. I'm going to go with Bencic. Sasnovich versus Jabeur. Going to go with Jabeur. Pegula, Andreescu. It's a tough one, Pegula's been in really, really good form recently. Andreescu is starting to find her feet again. I'm going to go with Andreescu. But that's definitely an upset if that happens. Azarenka, Serena Williams, going to go with Azarenka. Pliskova, Mertens, going to go I'm going to go Pliskova. Sakkari to beat Van Uytvanck. Sabalenka to beat Trevisan. Anisimova to beat Sofia Kenin. And, Leylah Fernandez versus Naomi Osaka. That is a fantastic match. One that we saw at the US Open last year. It's a really, really good one as well, wasn't it? I'm going to go Osaka. Which would be a little bit of an upset because she hasn't been in great form recently. And Kontaveit to go through there as well. Iga Swiatek against Haddad Maia. Now, I'm going for a rematch of this week's Toronto match. Who wins that? I'm going to go with Swiatek to get revenge. Rybakina to beat Coco Gauff. No, actually no. Coco Gauff to beat Rybakina. Badosa, Halep. I'm going to go Halep. I think Badosa's just been really up and down. Jabeur to beat Bencic. Andreescu to beat Azarenka. Pliskova versus Sakkari. Sakkari has been very, very up and down form, as has Pliskova, though, to be honest with you. She's dropped down the rankings quite substantially, mainly because she made the final Wimbledon last year, and there's no ranking points, so she just lost all those points. I'm going to go Sakkari. Sabalenka and Anisimova. Wow. That is a powerhouse matchup, isn't it? It really is. I'm going to go with Anisimova. I just think Sabalenka still not 100% up to where she was before. I'm sure she'll get back to that, and I'm hoping she will, but let's see. Osaka, Kontaveit. Kontaveit's number 2 seed. I'm going to go Osaka, though. Not sold on Kontaveit. Quarterfinal matchups. Here we go. So these are my projected quarterfinal matchups. Swiatek versus Coco Gauff. I'm going to go Coco Gauff. Simona Halep, Ons Jabeur. Going to go Jabeur. Who else have we got? Andreescu, Sakkari. Obviously, Jabeur, by the way, lost in the first round of the Rogers Cup, losing to Qinwen Zheng. There was a walkover, so she had an injury. So I'm hoping she's fit. If she is, then I'll go beating Halep. If not, then obviously it's going to be difficult. She might not even play. Andreescu, Sakkari, going to go Andreescu. To cause an upset there. And Anisimova, Osaka, going to go Anisimova. I think Anisimova isn't a good style for Osaka. I really think there aren't many players on tour who can hit with Osaka from the back of the court and have a similar type of power coming back at Osaka. And Anisimova is one of them. I think she struggles with that. So my semi-finals are Coco Gauff versus Ons Jabeur. I'm going to go Coco Gauff. Bianca Andreescu versus Anisimova. I'm going to go Anisimova. So I've gone for an all-American affair in the final. And I'm going to go with Anisimova to win her first Masters 1000 tournament. A pretty bold prediction. She's unseeded, but I'm going to go with her. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win and why? I'm very interested to hear. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, as well as, of course, as always. And we will be doing a men's preview for this. So keep an eye out for that. And I'll be doing some more Rogers Cup stuff as well, as and when the previews for the final become available as the semi-finals finish. Thank you so much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video.